Habitat and Hatch, Healthy Homes, Healthy Communities. Habitat the hippo is out for a short walk through the neighborhood mangrove with his companion Hatch the oxpecker perched on his back. Habitat the hippo says, "Hatch, I've noticed some friends are struggling. They don't have stable homes, there are few safe places to sleep, and they're having trouble with accessing food." Hatch the oxpecker says, "Those are social factors that affect their health and safety. Without stable homes, friends are more at risk of harm from others." Habitat the hippo says, "So housing, food, and community supports aren't just comforts, but they're health and safety tools." Habitat the hippo and Hatch the oxpecker continue on their walk when they bump into a concerned-looking friend, Housie the broad-headed mouse. Habitat the hippo says, "Hey look, it's Housie, but they're really far from home. Let's check in and say hi." Hatch the oxpecker says, "Hi Housie, you're pretty far from home. Is everything okay?" Housie the broad-headed mouse says, "I have nowhere safe to sleep tonight. I've been trying to rest in empty burrows, and I can't go back to my old home." Hatch the oxpecker says, "Thank you for sharing a little with us. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. No one deserves to experience housing insecurity. It affects your health, your peace of mind, and your safety from harm." Habitat the hippo and Hatch the oxpecker stayed with Housie the broad-headed mouse to listen to Housie's story. And then, with Housie's consent, they were able to get Housie connected to local resources for temporary shelter supports. Habitat the hippo says, "Maybe there's something more we can do to work together to create safer homes and make sure everyone has enough food." Hatch the oxpecker says, "We know that when everyone has a secure home, access to resources, and support from neighbors, we reduce the risk of violence and protect health. It benefits everyone. However, not everyone understands this." Habitat the hippo says, "What if our community builds safer homes that meet the varying needs and are accessible rather than focusing the blame on each individual animal?" Hatch the oxpecker says, "Now you're talking about the kind of symbiotic relationship we oxpeckers are all about." Habitat the hippo says, "With safe homes and community support, everyone can rest peacefully." Hatch the oxpecker says, "Social determinants, housing, nutrition, and safety work together so that when we strengthen them, we reduce the risk of harm, stress, and violence." Habitat the hippo says, "This means our mangrove becomes healthier, happier, and safer for everyone." Habitat the hippo says, "Safe homes are more than just a roof over our heads, aren't they, Hatch? They're a foundation for health, safety, and strong communities." Hatch the oxpecker says, "When we address these social factors, we help prevent violence before it even starts." Habitat the hippo and Hatch the oxpecker are well on their way in changing social norms in their communities. Taking action. What is one thing you can do to help shift norms in your community? What is one thing you can do to create healthier, safer, and stronger communities?